live in interesting times. Today's stories. The United Nations says hundreds of thousands flee violence in northeast DR Congo. Hong Kong leader apologizes for extradition law turmoil. Protesters reject Hong Kong leader's most sincere apology. Mexico detains 791 migrants, including 368 children under 8. Iranians react to the tension rising between Iran and the U.S. The U.S. says the world must not yield to nuclear extortion by Iran. Plus, bubble run keeping kids off the couch. Hello everyone, I am Lynn Pence bringing you stories from around the globe, and this is Eagle News, broadcasting from San Diego studio. Local authorities and the UN said Tuesday hundreds of thousands of people have fled inter-ethnic violence in northeastern areas of Democratic Republic of Congo in the past 2 weeks. The UN Refugee Agency voiced deep concern over a flare-up in violence in DRC's violent turmoil. Agency spokesman Babar Balak told journalists in Geneva the violence had forced more than 300,000 to flee their homes, voicing fears this escalation could engulf large parts of the province.
Violence in northeastern parts of the Democratic Republic of Congo is reported to have displaced more than 300,000 people since early June this year. The situation in Ituri province has worsened since the middle of the last week, with multiple attacks involving the Hema and Lendo groups. People are fleeing attacks and counterattacks in Jugu territory, with reports of both communities forming self-defense groups and being involved in revenge killings. Many more people are trying to get to relative safety of sites near Bunia, but are reportedly blocked by armed youth from both ethnic groups. Others are trying to cross Lake Albert into Uganda.
Ituri Governor Jean Baptiste Sali said the number of displaced could be as high as 400,000. Local officials said last week at least 50 people had been killed in a matter of days in Ituri, while other sources put the death toll from the inter-ethnic violence at over 70. The cause of the latest flare-up was not immediately clear, but it occurred in a region where tens of thousands died in clashes between the Hema and Lendu ethnic groups between 1999 and 2003. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam apologized Tuesday for the political unrest that has shaken Hong Kong, but the pro-Beijing chief executive refused to cave into demands for her resignation.
The concerns over the past few months have been caused by deficiencies in the work of the SAR government over the amendment exercise. I personally have to shoulder much of the responsibility. This has led to controversies, disputes, and anxieties in society. For this, I offer my most sincere apology to all people of Hong Kong.
The semi-autonomous territory had been plunged into its biggest crisis in decades, with millions of people taking to the street to demand the withdrawal of proposed legislation that would have allowed extradition to mainland China. Lam suspended the bill on Saturday after 2 massive rallies that saw isolated bouts of violence between the police and some protesters. But that failed to quell public anger. An even bigger rally Sunday drew over 2 million people, organizers said, more than a quarter of the population. Protesters have demanded that the bill be fully withdrawn and for Lam to step down and apologize for police using tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse protesters last week. They have also asked for all charges to be dropped against anyone detained during the protests. But Lam gave no indication she was prepared to step down, saying instead she wanted to continue to work very hard to meet the aspirations of the Hong Kong people. Without explicitly saying so, Lam indicated, however, that the extradition bill was unlikely to be revived given the public sentiment.
I've said that I want another chance to deliver the many initiatives that will help Hong Kong's economy and improve the livelihood of the Hong Kong people. I myself and my political team, we will continue to work very hard to achieve those objectives and to meet the aspirations of the Hong Kong people. I will not, this is an undertaking, I will not proceed again with this legislative exercise if these fears and anxieties could not be adequately addressed. Anxieties, if the bill did not make Legislative Council by July next year, it will expire. It will no longer have a validity. And the government will accept that reality.
Critics of the legislation fear it will entangle the people of Hong Kong in China's notoriously opaque and politicized justice system and threaten Beijing's critics. The mass protests also drew support from the city's formidable business community amid fears the law would damage Hong Kong's reputation as a safe business hub. While the extradition issue had been the spark of the mass rallies, the protest movement has since morphed into the latest expression of public rage in Hong Kong against both the city's leaders and Beijing. Hong Kong enjoys freedoms unseen in mainland China under the terms of its 1997 handover from Britain to China. But many residents fear they have being slowly eroded by what they feel is Beijing's tightening grip on the semi-autonomous city. As recent evidence, they offer for the failure of huge pro-democracy umbrella movement in 2014, the imprisonment of the protest leaders and disqualification of popular lawmakers, and the disappearance of booksellers critical of Beijing. The Chinese government had supported the extradition proposal and accused the protest organizers of colluding with Western governments. It had denounced the expressions of the support of the Hong Kong protesters as interference in the city and China's internal affairs. But Beijing said after the bill's suspension last week that it respected and understood the Hong Kong government's decision. Protesters at Hong Kong's parliament reject Chief Executive Carrie Lam's most sincere apology after the pro-Beijing leader refuses to cave into demands for her resignation.
其實我哋在座咁多位係冇人會感受到佢所謂嘅精誠道歉啦。咁我哋都有為政府設立咗一個 deadline 啦。咁就係若果佢喺6月20號之前都係回應到嘅訴求，可能或者會行動升級，或者係同埋頭先我哋有好多唔同嘅記者、唔同嘅媒體都有訪問過究竟對於嗰5大訴求你有啲咩回應？甚至有人為咗香港然後去自殺嘅，你會點樣睇呢？佢完全冇回應過。
其實呢個政府係有啲無能，你見到咁大件事出咗嚟，佢哋就係個回應就係識得喺度射波。佢之後其實佢哋根本正面回應一啲都冇，即係我哋
一定要撤回，因為言前無限期延遲，有日會復活。佢呢個政府林鄭月娥已經係冇晒信用㗎啦，對我哋香港人講。佢今日講一套，聽日講一套，係冇信用一個人。佢應該係下台咯，即係為香港好。
Up next, Mexico detained 791 migrants, including 368 children under 8. Iranians react to the tension rising between Iran and the U.S. The U.S. says the world must not yield to nuclear extortion by Iran. Eagle News will return in a moment. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News. Officials said Sunday a total of 791 Central American migrants, including 368 children under the age of 8, have been detained in the Mexican state of Veracruz. The National Migration Institute said in a statement, detentions of the migrants who were being deported, hidden in 4 trailers, were called out at 2 points. While the total age breakdown of the migrants remains unclear, a source speaking of the condition of autonomy on Sunday told AFP 270 of the migrants are 6 or 7 years old and are 98 age 0 to 5. They detained included 413 Guatemalans, 330 Hondurans, and 39 Salvadorians, the source said. Another source said that the 6 alleged human traffickers had been captured.
Ya estuvimos ahí checando incluso que tengan la ayuda humanitaria necesaria. El estado de salud es variado. Nos queda claro que hubo un grupo que fueron atendidos por preasfixia, estaban ya asfixiados.
Veracruz is one of the most violent regions of Mexico. Drug trafficking routes to the United States pass through it, and the migrants passing through run the risk of being robbed, raped, or kidnapped. The detentions come during a 45-day period of Mexico to take steps to curb migration, part of an agreement reached with the United States earlier this month to head off tariffs threatened by President Donald Trump. Trump has warned that the tariffs will still be on the table if the United States deems Mexico's progress insufficient after 45 days. Iran said Tuesday it had dismantled a U.S. spy network after Washington announced it would deploy 1,000 more troops to the Middle East, and as key powers expressed concern about regional tensions. Tehran's announcement came a day after it said its uranium stockpiles will on June 27 surpass a limit agreed in the 2015 nuclear deal, a multilateral agreement Washington unilaterally abandoned in May last year. Tensions between Tehran and the U.S. have escalated ever since, with Washington bolstering its military presence in the region, reimposing sanctions and blacklisting Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards as a terrorist organization. Quoting an intelligence ministry official, Iran's state news agency IRNA said, following clues in American intelligence services, we recently found the new recruits Americans had hired and dismantled a new network. It said some members of the alleged CIA network had been arrested and handed over to the judiciary, while others still required additional investigations. In what termed a wide-reaching blow to U.S. intelligence, IRNA said Tehran had carried out the operation in cooperation with foreign allies without naming any state. The agency's source did not specify how many agents were arrested or if they were operating only in Iran. Meanwhile, Iranians react to the rising tensions between the U.S. and Iran as they discuss how it could affect them in the future.
از این لحاظ که آمریکا هم یه سری نیرو فرستاده، خب نیرو قبلا هم فرستاده و هیچ اتفاق خاصی نیفتاد. فکر نمی‌کنم اتفاق خاصی هم بیفته در آینده و حالا باید صبر کنیم ببینیم عکس‌العمل دو طرف نسبت به این قضیه چی هستش. ولی خب من خودم
نگرانی جنگ رو داریم. خود من به شخص نگرانی جنگ رو دارم که نکنه که جنگ بشه، مخصوصا که ماها جنگ رو تجربه کردیم. نسل من نسل جنگه، بچه‌هایی که تو جنگ بزرگ شدن، صدای آژیر، همیشه اضطراب صدای جنگ و بمباران همیشه داریم.
مردم کشور به شدت تحت فشار، شرایط اقتصادی، سیاسی، فرهنگی، بیزنسی، کاری، همه چی. ما خودم به عنوان یک کسی که به هر حال دارم تو این جامعه کار میکنم، اصلا وضعیت انقدر وضعیت بدیه که من پیشنهادم اینه که به هر حال بتونن اینا برن سراغ مذاکره. این مذاکره یعنی حرف زدن، چیز بدی نیست که آقا نمیشه، خب بیاید بیرون، اتفاق خاصی نمیفته.
The United States warns that the world must not give into Iranian, quote, extortion after Tehran said would surpass the uranium stockpile limits set under the 2015 nuclear deal abandoned by Washington.
I think what we're seeing here is really a challenge, not only in the JCPOA, but really a challenge to the international norms on how a country behaves, a challenge to the international norms on freedom of navigation and freedom of the seas. And so we, would say to the international community that we should not yield to nuclear extortion by the Iranian regime. Okay. We call on the Iranians not to obtain a nuclear weapon and to abide by the commitments that they've made to the international community.
Up next, Bubble Run, keeping kids off the couch. Eagle News will return shortly. This is Eagle News. I am Lynn Pence. Running with friends with bubbles floating around while helping a charity for kids? How awesome is that? Organizers of the Bubble Run in Sacramento said the run aims to inspire kids to get off the couch and enjoy physical exercise. Eagle News correspondent Rabina Toloy with the details.
Participants of all different ages are here at Cal Expo in Sacramento for the Bubble Run.
What better way to kick off the summer than to go outside for this fun and clean run? More than 17,000 participants have shown up to support different charities in the community and to spend time with their friends and family.
So you mentioned that it's your second time, so what made you want to come again for this year?
The exercise and the bubbles, mostly the bubbles.
The green bubbles.
I knew you were going to say that.
Friends and all the bubbles.
Bubbles, friends, and company.
Yes, yes.
We always had fun.
I think helping with charities is nice because I like supporting people who have cancer because they need help because they have something. And I support people that have like some hard things, and I like helping them so they could have a better life.
It's great. You know, we're all nurses, so we believe in like supporting and helping a good cause, so we're here to support.
I didn't know that this one was for charity, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Family that adopted.
Yeah, getting lost wasn't fun. Half an hour wasn't fun, but these guys are my friends and I love them.
We started off the year with about 140 different events that we do throughout the country. Bubble Run has about 40 events itself. We actually have a Bubble Run happening in Washington, D.C. right now as well. So yeah, we have about 140 events a year that we do around the country, and it's all for a great cause. So the charity that we have involved right now, it's our national charity partner called One Wish, and we donate $1 per registration throughout all of our brands, not just Bubble Run. To One Wish, and One Wish helps with childhood cancer and other childhood diseases. So this year we've contributed over $1 million just in 2019, and we're only 6 months into the year, so it's been a great partnership. So Bubble Run was really created out of trying to get kids off the couch, showing kids that exercise can be fun, and you know, you add colored bubbles into it and you're pretty much grand slam getting the kids out. You know, it's important, you know, for the families to come out to teach their kids, you know, a good be a good role model in fitness and getting them going at a young age, but then also giving back to local communities and giving back to the charities that are helping a lot of kids around the world. Yeah.
From the Bubble Run here in Sacramento, California, I'm Rabina Toloy, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Rabina. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you stories that matter to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Facebook at Eagle News and on Twitter at eaglenews.ph. Thank you for watching. I am Lynn Pence and I am 1 with 25.